Alright, this is a notes for Math 1 for Section 10.7, reviewing what was covered in last class. And if you remember, 10.7 had two concepts. We had vertical angles, and the other major thing we were dealing with were supplementary angles. So if you remember, vertical angles come from two intersecting lines. And they're the ones that are opposite each other. So if I had angle 1, 2, 3, and 4, in terms of vertical angles, I would have angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical, right, because they're opposite each other. And then I would say angle 4 and angle 2 are vertical because they're opposite each other. Okay. Using the same diagram, talking about supplementary angles. Something that we've dealt with quite a bit. So supplementary angles are angles that add up to 180, so they form, in this case, they're going to form a linear pair. So what are supplementary angles? Angle 3 and angle 2 are supplementary. These two add up to 180. Angles 1 and 2 are supplementary. Angles 1 and 4 are supplementary. And lastly, 3 and 4 are supplementary. They add to each other. Add up to 180, sorry. Okay. So using these angle pairs. So let's look at some examples. All right. So if I had something like this, two intersecting lines, okay, my directions are find X and Y, if there is one of each. So looking at this, I could have right here 18x minus 9 and 4x plus 13. So looking at these two angles, they're not opposite each other. Like this angle and this angle would be vertical, so they're not vertical angles. So in this case, they're supplementary angles. So what I'm going to say is 18x minus 9 plus the other angle adds up to 180. So now I combine like terms and I get 22x plus 4 equals 180. Subtract a 4 to both sides. Get 22x equals 176. And then divide that by 22. All right, and x equals 8. Okay. So in those cases, those were supplementary angles. All right. Look at another example here. So this one up here is 9x plus 20. This is 7x, and this is 2y. Okay. So now I got to find the x and the y. So I got to see what's vertical and what's supplementary. So looking at these two, 2y and 7y are vertical angles, so they do equal each other, but the problem is I got the different variables, so I don't want to set those up in an equation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use these two and do the supplementary angles. There's a couple of different ways you could do it. So I'll set this up as 7x plus 9y plus 20 equals 180. Combine like terms. Subtract 20 to both sides. I get 16x equals 160 divided by 16. All right. And so now I'll be able to get one particular angle. Sorry, this is 10. Okay, so now I got this angle. Now I got x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and find out what one of these two angles. I'm going to go ahead and plug it in right there. So this angle right here is going to be 7 times 10, so that's 70 degrees. So what I could go ahead and say is, okay, so this equals 70 degrees. So now I can do vertical angles right here and say 2y equals 70 divided by 2, and y equals 35. And there's my two answers. Okay. So looking to see what I can figure out. Alright, looking at another example like this. So I got 5y plus 38, 8x plus 26, and I got a 3y. So same kind of thing, got to figure out what can I use, what kind of angle pairs do I have. So these two are vertical, but I got the different variables, so I don't want to set those up together. These two right here are supplementary and add up to 180, but they're also different variables, so the best way to go is to use these two right here as a linear pair. So this is going to be 3x plus 8x plus 26 equals 180. So I get 11x plus 26 equals 180, and then I subtract a 26 to both sides, and I get 11x equals 154. Okay. Then divide that by 11, and x equals 14. So I got one of them there. So I can plug it into here or there. I'm going to go ahead and plug it into this one just because. And it's not going to make a difference either way. Depends how I set up my next part. So I'm going to go ahead and do that over here and say 8 times 14 plus 26. Which is 112 plus 26. Is going to give me about 138. Okay, so that equals 138. So this whole thing equals 138. Now these two are vertical, so I can go ahead and set those equal to each other. And I get 5y plus 38 equals 138. Subtract 38 to both sides. And 5y equals 100. Divide by 5, and y equals 20. Okay. Alright, so we have vertical and supplementary. Right. They both come from these two intersecting lines, and make sure we can understand the difference between the two and which one we have to do first.